Nate Hoyle here, sipping a coffee and creaking across the floor and talking to you with a completely blank and lifeless stare. Welcome to the Secret Restaurant Podcast. Let's get to it. Last night I had a pretty crazy adventure. You're going to love this story. You're not going to believe it, but I assure you it is true. So I was online shopping for an NHL Chicago Blackhawks flat bill fitted hat. And I found one on sale. I was like, let's do this. Loaded it up in the cart. Got everything ready to go. Thought about it. Always think about it. Thought about it a few hours, pacing around, scratching my chin, ignoring all other responsibilities. If someone knocked on the door or if the phone rang, I ignored it. I had things to do. I had to think about whether I should get this hat with a Native American on it, whether or not it's problematic, probably. You know what's cool, but also would be a good parody? Because I did go to one Blackhawks game when I was living in the Chi. And they really do a good job. I'm saying this sincerely because, you know, there's been a lot of problems and reevaluations, of course, with mascots and specifically Native heritage, Native American mascots, and some have been deemed inappropriate. But for some reason, the Blackhawks logo has remained among a few others. But when you go to a game, or at least this was what it was like 2 years ago when I went, I'm sure it's still like this, in between periods, they have like, at least one of them, if not both, they had a memoriam or like a moment where they celebrated Native culture. And like what the mascot's roots were, or like what people of Illinois were here before us. And I think that's great, but also it would be a pretty funny parody to do too. Like overcorrecting something that white people have been doing horribly for 100 years, i.e. mascots. Like being like, trying to overfix it with the woke libs. But yeah, I've been kind of avoiding getting any, I'm not a huge hockey fan anyway, but I am a Chicago sports fan. And I've kind of been avoiding, for some reason I remember you remember in Wayne's World? Because in Wayne's World they live in the suburbs of Chicago and visit Chicago, and the scene where they're playing hockey in the street and they keep going, car, and then they carry the net off of the street and then they go, game on. It's like one of their bits. Anyway, one of them is wearing a Chicago Blackhawks jersey or shirt there. I can't remember. But ever since I saw that movie when I was a youngin', I always liked the merch, respected the merch, and always kind of wanted to own some. And I know this story is very exciting to you, but it only gets better because the twists and turns along the way are going to wow you. So I had the hat in my cart on sale, ready to rock, considering what sort of future I have with it, whether that future is worth experimenting with, whether that future is worth committing to. A couple hours later, I was ready to buy it. And I put all my info in, and then it didn't work, kept on not working. And then, like, I checked again later and the sale had ended. So I didn't get it. Still really kind of, grieving about that whole thing. Is Nate speaking in metaphor? No. This is literally the story. I'm not speaking about anything except for buying a hat. Not the failure that is my life. Did watch, I don't remember. I can't even name all the hockey teams. Hockey teams. I can't even name them all. I can name like some. Like maybe like off the top of my head, I bet you I can name like 6. But anyway, I did watch the Blackhawks game that went into the shootout. Maybe that was 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Because that one was just on TV. That's exciting. Whenever it goes down to that, it's pretty fun. I'm always like, I need to get into this. But then I'll turn on a team I don't know or some game that nothing happens in like 5 minutes. And I'm like, I'm changing the channel. Maybe that's just how you get into it slowly. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. So that's kind of one of the most exciting things. Oh, did you guys see that Bulls game? That was it wasn't a buzzer beater because there was 0.2 seconds left on the clock, but they had that 3-pointer to go ahead by 2.2 seconds left and ended up winning. And right before that, they showed a montage of a bunch of the buzzer beaters or final shot wins, one score wins that the Bulls had this year. And then right after that, there was another one. And I guess they have to add another clip to their long highlight reel of last second Bulls buzzer beater / almost buzzer beater victories. Never talked about the Bears season either. I know everyone's saying it, but incredible season. I didn't get to watch probably about half of the games. Was always keeping up with them, watching highlights, having the score up. And that team was just so exciting. Respect to Caleb Williams for living with the hate, because his hate towards him is unusually loud. And he stood tall in it. And if you watch the game, that last playoff game that they lost at the end of regulation, I'm sure football fans, a lot of people saw it because he dropped back like 20 yards and then just threw a wish up into the end zone to his tight end, and that tied the game up. Well, after the extra point, that tied the game up. And the whole season was just filled with spectacular plays and prayers and comeback wins, and proving that the probability that they show every game, pretty much for the sake of gambling, is all just a load of crap, what I think. How do you have the probability look like? It looks like a up and down, like wave. It's like, that's not the probability then. Like, if every time someone scores, the probability switches over 100%, like, oh, this team's got a 60% probability, and then one team scores and it goes, oh, the other team has a 60% probability now. It's like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that's not probability. That's just literally you are saying what the score is. You're literally just I can just look at the scoreboard and I can see what the probability is without your weird stock market flow chart. Like, okay, so now this team is up by 7. That means they're more likely to win. You don't need to show me some nerdy stats chart for the people who are putting bets in. It's like, it doesn't even mean anything. It's just like literally a visual, pointless. Anyway, after that touchdown that they went into overtime, they did have a chance, but the whole time I was just thinking, like, even if they win this game, like, eventually their luck is gonna run out. Like, you can't be lucky all the way up to the Super Bowl playing the greatest teams in the league. And I was hoping for a win, but it wasn't. It was overall just an unexpectedly great season. And I had a great time watching the games that I did. Looking forward to next year. Bear down for life. Moving on. A couple of secret restaurant newsletter announcements. So Breakfast 3 is moving forward. Everyone should have heard back. I can't remember if I said that last time, but if I didn't, now you know. For the first time, I think what's going to happen, longtime contributor and friend of mine, Evan Bryson, who's been in pretty much, I think, all but one of the periodicals. Maybe he wasn't in the first one. And then ever since the second breakfast and all the pizzas, maybe he hasn't been in two. But anyway, this is the first time I think that I probably won't format it myself. I will pass it. I did pass all the submissions along to him. And I think he plans to send me some formatted, I don't know what it's going to look like. We will see. but I just sent that his way like last week, and he got back with me, and I think he's going to probably send me something eventually. Or maybe he already did because I haven't checked my email. I don't know. It is no rush on my part, though. I don't really know when this is going to come out because, I'll put it out when it's supposed to come out. Things will align. Things will come together, and, the universe will push things into a place that it's supposed to be, or something like that. Maybe it won't. Maybe it's just all random. I don't know. You know what's funny? I don't know if people have noticed this, but they probably have. And in my mind, if I think that something negative could be thought about me, then it is being thought about me. That's a problem I have. But for some reason, whenever I start working on periodicals or things other than like books, full-length books, whenever I work on periodicals, I've also simultaneously start working on my own books too. And so, believe it or not, if you follow me on Instagram, that is just what is happening. I'm going to put out my collected poems from 2023 to 2026. I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but probably late spring this year. And essentially, the title of the book is called Last Holiday, which I came up with by myself, and then I Googled it, and it is a Queen Latifah movie. So I'll have to watch that and see how it compares, but it was random. It was like in my notebook, the whole thing. I mean, a lot of the things I do are just like free writes, and then they come together, and the meaning comes when all of the words are collected into a page or into a sequence. But anyway, the full thing I wrote was First Holiday / Last Holiday, just in a notebook. And then I removed the first holiday, had it just be Last Holiday. And then I Googled it, and it's a movie. And so, does that matter? Probably not. It is a sort of double entendre, though. So I'm not sure what the movie meant, or maybe the movie is also a double entendre. But the way I was thinking of it, obviously first holiday, last holiday. Last holiday means final, final holiday. But I think at a glance, maybe it might seem more like the most recent holiday. So I'm not sure if the movie is doing that sort of thing too, or if it's just saying most recent holiday, or the previous holiday before the most recent one, perhaps. Anyway, the book is going to be, I haven't put everything into the final format to print it yet, but judging from the work I have, let's see, it's going to be like 100 plus 59 plus 15. So like 176, roughly 176 pages of poems. And one of them included is the Footstep Valley I dropped December 2024. That's about 80 or 70 pages of it. And then there's 3 other books. One full length that I have not shown anyone that I just finished within the last couple months called Blue Mythology. And then there's 2 smaller releases that are called Rehearsal of Murmurs for the Sound. Rehearsal of Murmurs, volumes 1 and 2. And some people have read the first one, but not very many. And then the second one is pretty much all fresh and new. So even if you haven't read Footstep Valley, there's probably at least another 100 pages that you haven't read. And I don't know how much I'm going to sell it for, but probably not more than $20. So, and I don't even know how many people read all the Footstep Valley poems either. So be on the lookout for that in the spring. I'll be keeping you updated. I'm excited about it. So it's my second collected poems book. The first one collected things from 2017 to 23. And those ones I feel like I was still kind of, I got a good response to them, and people read them and liked them. And it was kind of stuff that I'd been releasing for a long time. So people were reading those when they were even finding out I wrote poems. People were very encouraging. But I do think these last 4 years or 3 years or whatever, These are I like these ones more. I think I've improved. So hopefully people feel the same. Hopefully people are still paying attention. Because it's called a sophomore slump, right? Even though individually I've released a lot of shorter books, this is a kind of the first big release, second big release. So see if people even bother, or if they never finish the first one, or whatever. Should I talk about movies or music for these final winding minutes of the Secret Restaurant podcast on this fine day of January 25th, 2026? Let's see. Let's just talk about movies because that's more unusual for me. So the one that I watched, well, the Oscars got released, the announcements or whatever, the picks. And I'm going to pull it up because I think I honestly saw most of them. So let me see. Oscar nominations 2026. And scrolling back up to the top because I was reading it. Best Picture. All right. I saw F1. I saw Frankenstein. I saw Marty Supreme. I saw One Battle After Another. I saw Sinners. I saw Train Dreams. And then a couple days ago, I think 2 days ago, I watched Sentimental Value, which is the rare, not English selection of Best Picture. I think probably if I think one should win, maybe this is obvious, especially because I'm like a straight white male. But probably One Battle After Another, of all the ones I saw, that would be the proper pick. And I only watched it once. I saw it in theaters. And I think that because I was going through YouTube and I watched that interview between Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence. I think the series is called Actors on Actors. And it actually started because I was watching Jennifer Lawrence stuff because I have a crush on her. Why did I say that? I wish I could take it back. But anyway, the interview was in regards to Jennifer Lawrence's movie I haven't seen yet. Can't remember what it's called. It's about a distressed mother and wife. And then it's got like death in the title or something. But die or something. But then Leonardo DiCaprio's most recent movie was, of course, One Battle After Another. And they were going through the plot of it. And they were talking about the actual story of it. And I feel like I knew it at the time because it's like a really long movie. And it's very immersive. But then like when I was reflecting on the movie, like 3 months later or whatever, like the story is so huge. And you kind of forget, if you just watch it once, where the script and the film itself takes you. Because, I mean, it takes place over a span of many years, but it also just takes you to incredible places in the kind of moods of the characters and the histories of the characters and the actual plot itself and what's going on in the surrounding setting and world. I suppose that should be expected anyway in regards to Paul Thomas Anderson's work. Probably sound like a film douche saying that, but it's true. I mean, everyone's already saying it, but his films are probably some of the most impactful, like a younger Martin Scorsese. I guess that Leonardo and Jennifer Lawrence are going to be teaming up again after Don't Look Up. Is that what it's called? But they're going to be in the next Scorsese film, which that's exciting. Anyway, that One Battle After Another would probably be my number one pick. I love Train Dreams, obviously, but I think that one's a little more niche to be Best Picture. And then let's talk about Sentimental Value. I thought it was a great story. Sometimes I have trouble with subtitles, not because I can't read. Obviously, I can read, but I have trouble. So for the best example I could say is I tried starting that film that won Best Picture a while ago. It's called Parasite. And I've started it a couple of times, but my problem is with that one, it was very visually complex. The filming of it was very thought out and complicated, and everything was very visual. And that, on top of the fact that the dialogue was in subtitles and the dialogue itself was very long too, I felt like I wasn't knowing whether to read or look at the actual shots and stuff. And it was kind of a long movie. So one of these days, I'm going to watch it twice and see if I can just or maybe I could just read the summary and then do the best I can to do both the subtitles and the experimental. It's not experimental. It's like just a very beautifully shot film from what I've seen. I'll probably only watch like 20 minutes because every time I get like overwhelmed. But anyway, the sentimental value one, sometimes I kind of forgot that it had subtitles, even though the majority of the film is not in English and you have to read. And it's a good movie, visually shot and everything. I just think it's a little more calm, a little less busy, and maybe the tension between characters plays out more in like subtext and stuff than it does in just like driving a plot, because the actual script, it's about this father who's a filmmaker, and then he shows up again. Like, he wasn't completely out of their lives, but he was kind of absent. In a way, he was like detached. And now the daughters are grown, and he comes back and he asks one of them to do a film with him. And she is an actor, and she does stage play stuff. But some of the tension is like, he wants to film this movie, and she turns him down. So he gets another actress to do it. And then there's sort of kind of the complicated relationships. But I think just the fact that there is so much subtext and mystery, and the actual script of it isn't, like, the words of it are only part of the story, and the tension between characters and the familial relationships and all that are also a huge role. And then the filming is beautiful, but it's also very slow, and it shows like kind of the landscapes and the spaces and the houses. And so yeah, sometimes I forgot it was even subtitles at all. I enjoyed that one. I would recommend it. I suppose I had to buy it. I think it's still in theaters. Let's see what else was on there. So I already went through them, but Train Dreams, One Battle After Another. I literally just watched Sinners like a week ago. I had never seen it even when it was in theaters and everybody was raging about it. It wasn't really what I expected entirely. I knew that it was a vampire movie, and I knew that it was like people said that the first half was much different than the second half. But it was sort of a slow burn, like almost like biblical. It was a lot more like untraditional in its storytelling, its narrative, than it was. I thought it was going to be like an action movie, which there's action in it. I thought it was going to be like From Dusk Till Dawn or whatever that movie was, when in actuality it was kind of intense dialogues and character-driven, kind of, because there's like a supernatural element to it. It was kind of character-driven for the majority of it, and then the end it kind of goes into horror film. I liked it. I could see that one winning too. Marty Supreme was good. The one complaint I had was that I feel like the overall plot sometimes felt unorganized. I liked the performances and there were memorable scenes, but a lot of the characters were unlikable, and the plot itself kind of felt like it went all over the place as opposed to kind of focusing on... I thought it was going to be almost entirely about ping pong, which a lot of it was about ping pong, but then it also kind of went random places about how this dude was an asshole. I do like that director, though, or I think he usually works with his brother, and then maybe they split off and both did individual movies, but Uncut Gems is probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I liked their first film, Good Times, and then I think, I'm not going to fact check myself, but I think that this year one of them made That Smashing Machine and the other one made Marty Supreme. And they rhymed on purpose. They got together and were like, if we're going to make two movies, we have to have the titles rhyme. Just kidding. F1 was F1, you know. You knew what to expect. It was pretty good, and I don't know. I'm not sure that I would pick it as Best Picture because I don't know if it was necessarily doing something contemporary. It was more just like another racing movie. although Brad Pitt was awesome in it and the story was engaging. I don't know that it was doing anything that wasn't done 10, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Aside from the advancements in cameras, I liked the first half of Frankenstein, and then the second half kind of lost me. The whole eccentric Dr. Frankenstein was super badass and well done. That dude, Oscar, whatever. I loved his character. I loved how they filmed him. I loved how grotesque the actual experimenting with creating the monster was. But I can't remember if I said this joke on the podcast before because I said it in real life. But the Frankenstein guy, like, once he became a living monster, like, kind of just felt like he was just some guy. Like, I didn't understand why. Like, Frankenstein to me is supposed to be super alienated and cannot, like, live in society. And, like, literally they had Frankenstein just be a dude who had, like, weird stripes on his face and body. And you could, I mean, it just looked like a dude who, like, had paint on him. And then he's supposed to be this huge, like, alienated monster that everybody wants to get. I didn't really feel it. I didn't feel like he was outcasted or that he wouldn't have been able to survive in a society. And so that was kind of my beef with it. If I want a Frankenstein movie, I want him. And also, like, the scenes where they were making the monster were so grotesque and, like, all this, like, guts and, like, bones and shit. And then it's just, like, it's like a dude with, like, paint on him. He's, like, running around outside. Like, I don't fit in. All right, that's it for today. Because maybe I'll save the whole music stuff for another time. But thanks for listening. And I will talk to you soon. I will keep you updated on all those important things that you are just dying to hear. All right, goodbye.